The show itself, has it, you were talking a little back there about its success. Did it take off pretty quickly? I mean, the overall success, it sounds like that was surprising.
No, it took a long time to get to the show. I mean, part of building the brand and building mine and Aaron's status, if you will, in the car world, we had to build some unbelievable cars. We had to get out there and show them off. We had to travel all over the United States, telling the world, you know, who we were and showing our wares, so to speak, and also, you know, going up against other builders and you know, winning those competitions and getting the press, if you will. So that was a long haul. And then when we decided, you know, when it was time to try to get a show, you know, you got to do the sizzle reel. You got to try to get a network to buy it, and you know, then starts the, you know, that took years. I mean, it really did, and
just to promote
just to get
what
to
you
there.
were trying to do.
And
so it sounds like you came up with the concept for Gas Monkey as a show and put it together, and then had to sell it.
Yeah, the gas, you know, came up with Gas Monkey as a show. I had to put that together and then go sell it. But I, you know, and I had a lot of offers early on from lesser networks, but Discovery, it was only Discovery, only a 1-hour show, only these guys, you know, producing it, being Pilgrim. You know, I had studied what others before me had done, and I didn't want to fall into a trap of a lesser show or something. I mean, I was aiming to make Gas Monkey, you know, hopefully the next big brand. Being the businessman that I am, I wasn't just trying to get on TV and be famous. I wanted to build, you know, my company stronger and bigger.
And that was, from the book, it sounds like that was the goal from the outset, that once you sold the printing business and focused on this, then the entire effort was on building Gas Monkey as a brand and a show.
It really was. I looked at, I mean, coming from marketing and printing and advertising, I was able to look at the shows that were on TV at the time and go, okay, they're doing great and they're selling a lot of apparel and things like that, but you know, they're missing a market. They're very tough guy machismo type, you know, this, so they had a really good grip on a guy like me that's watched TV, but my wife or my girlfriend at the time wasn't going to watch it, and the kids weren't. And
that was kind of the motorcycle build shows.
And that was some of those, and
yeah.
they were. And the other thing that kind of put me off on was when I first started investigating. They're like, oh, you can't do a car that fast. You know, it's like we can film a motorcycle. They filmed back then. They were filming a motorcycle build in 1 month. I build cars in 2 weeks. And they told me I couldn't build a car in a month.
And the cars are built here, Richard?
Yes, and we really do build them. If you see an episode that has a car on it and you see it finished, that's a 2-week build. If you see an episode where there's 2 of them together before you see the finished product, that's 4 weeks. Like this Cadillac over here will be a 4-week build, but it's all the way down to the frame, all the way back up, brand new everything, and you know, top quality, top notch work. And that's the one thing that we're very adamant about. We're not just slapping shit together for television. We are, the cars that we put out here, you know, they're going to live a lot longer than me and Aaron, and they're going to be traded hands, and I don't want people to look at those and go, oh, that's a piece of crap. It was just slapped together for television. So, and Aaron's the same way. These are cars that are going to build our legacy, if you will, and they're going to be there for a long time, so we do not cut any corners.
I know one of the first cars of yours I saw was some cars at the Lone Star Rod and Custom show in Austin. It was probably 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago.
It'd probably been 9.
It could have been 9, yeah. And at that time, they were the more like the Chevy over in the corner, you know, the rat rod influence kind of look. Is that what you kind of view as the Gas Monkey look?
No,
or
not really.
Has it evolved to a point where there really isn't a Gas Monkey?
It really has evolved, but our reasoning for getting into the rat rod style was I enjoyed it and I liked it because you had a finished car that you could have fun with. You know, it wasn't this unbelievable piece of eye candy over there that you were afraid to take to the grocery store. What I wanted to improve upon was that people thought that style was junk. It was something somebody slapped together. It was unsafe. It was crap. So we were building hot rods that had a patinaed look, you know, a good style to them, but they were great cars. They run 135, 40 miles an hour down the road. You know, you could turn on the air conditioner. You could do all these things with these cars, and I wanted to prove that genre worked, because not only was it not this unbelievable piece of eye candy that you were afraid to drive, but it was also relatively acceptable and not so expensive that the common guy could have it. And that's really what Gas Monkey is all about. Almost every move I make with Gas Monkey, you know, from how I price the burger at the bar to, you know, how much the tequila that we just launched is going to be, or sometimes we build expensive cars on the show because you got to change up things. But 99% of what we do, I always ask myself, okay, relative to inflation, could my dad have had this when we were kids?
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, you know, there's the 1%ers out there that make all the money, and then there's the rest of the guys like us. And you know, I want them to know that no matter what income bracket you're in, you can have a toy or a car or a motorcycle that is cool and fun to have. And you know, that was one of the determining factors of wanting to make Gas Monkey on television. I would watch those other shows that were on when, you know, before I started Gas Monkey, and I loved it. It was cool. It was awesome. And you know, wow, look at that they just built. And then I'd turn off the TV and just be deflated. I'm like, I can't have a $200,000 motorcycle.
Yeah.
I can have a $2,000 one, you know, or maybe a $20,000 one. But holy cow, you know, so I'd just be defeated at the end of it. So we really try to be active here and build cars that are accessible to the regular Joe out there.
Do you think a lot of your initial credibility came from setting the record in the Cannonball, winning the Gumball? You won, what, 2 or 3, 4 different coast-to-coast races?
Yeah, a lot. I think that got my name out there, that made people then start paying attention to what we were doing. And so it built some credibility. I don't know about credibility, it built some notoriety. I think our credibility came from our skill, and mostly Aaron Kaufman's skill in building phenomenal cars and rethinking what really, you know, what he's building. A lot of people build with okay, well, so-and-so did this, or I can buy this part off the shelf and I can do this. And, you know, it's almost a running joke around here. Aaron Kaufman will get the biggest, baddest, you know, whatever kit, you know, let's call it a lift kit for a truck. You know, they sell hundreds of thousands of these lift kits every year, and it's right off the shelf, and you stick it on your Dodge truck. Oh, that's not good enough for Aaron. He'll take the kit out and look at it and re-engineer it, and he'll literally make it better. And that's how he is. And it takes more time, more thought process, but he's a master at it.
I have no skills. I know cars, love cars, have no skills at building them, putting them together. Do you? I mean, do you do much of that on your own? Do you have any time for it?
I tinker. I can understand, especially being around it this long. I understand how to do it. I don't weld, and I'm not a fabricator. That's definitely Aaron. But no, I do not work on cars. It's one of the beauties of mine and Aaron's relationship and our work environment is I can't do what he does, and he can't do what I do. So we never dabble in each other's business. If he says, I'm going to do this car over here, and I need this, this, and this, and it's, you know, I need this much time, well, I go in there and I order that and write the checks, and then I start watching the time clock to make sure we're going to make money. And that's how it works.
Richard, going back real quick to the last question I was asking walking up here about, you know, do you consider yourself a car guy, or do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? And you've got more and more plans to keep expanding. Do you think that the regular person out there begins to lose sight of Richard Rawlings, the car guy who started out racing and doing coast-to-coast things, and you become sort of Richard Rawlings, you know, the enterprise guy? You're
gonna get some of that no matter what with I guess popularity. But I mean, I'm a car and motorcycle guy all the way through and through. I play with them all every day, and but the entrepreneurial part is I think a very key element. I mean, even if you're just going to buy one car and you're going to try to sell that car and make a profit, you know, you're going to bring it home, clean it up, and try to make a profit, you are now also an entrepreneur. You're not just a car guy. And I think that that's an important thing that we really try to also show through Gas Monkey is if you've got a little bit of extra money to play with, you can go buy something, make a little money, you know, and also have some fun with it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys put their money in the bank and they've got the 401 or whatever, or their savings account, and they're making a couple of percent. Well, cars historically, almost all, will raise in value. It's like I say, there's always an ass for every seat. There's not a car that's going to go completely unpopular all of a sudden.
Right.
And so, you know, it's much more fun to me to have what little money that we have, or what money that we have, stacked over here in the corner of the garage in cars, because I can go play with them. And when I need to sell them, they're probably going to be worth more than I paid for them if I did my job right. And I'll get that money back plus some.